you, Scott. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our community worship here with the UUs of Charlottesville. I'd almost say that we're here in the beautiful Piedmont region of Virginia, but in actuality, we're all over the place. It's thank you to those that are signing in while traveling or also at a distance. It's good to see your Zoom faces again. It's fun to see everyone on Sunday, old friends and new, and especially on a morning like today when we might not be able to meet in person because of the snow. We're glad that you have made it to this virtual sanctuary because really it is together that we can make this a place of celebration and solace, connection, and compassion. My name is Breck Gastinger, and I am serving as the worship weaver today. We also are grateful for the tech wizards, Sean Scally and Bailey Reed, who are working behind the green curtain as the technical support and help make all of this magic possible. This morning, to offer us a greeting from the Board of Trustees, we are going to hear from Liberty Powers.
Hello, my name is Liberty Powers, and I'm finishing up my second year as a member at large on the Board of Trustees. And the thing I'd like to talk about today in my little introduction is basically just saying thank you. That really I appreciate in this era of epidemic loneliness, that I would like to say thank you all for being here with each other and for each other, to come together seeking love and offering service is a bold and radical choice in our time. And I'm thankful for this community of shared values and vision. And later today, my 16-year-old son is going to be going online to join with the other UU youth, where they engage in their curriculum and general antics. And it's one of the things that we love most about this church. It's knowing that our children are growing up within this culture of UU principles and with our congregation's quest to be more welcoming and more inclusive and anti-racist. And this is providing them with the confidence and the reinforced strength to do the necessary work required of their generation. And ultimately, though, it's the friendships that are mattering the most. So again, I would like to thank each of you for being here. We're all required to pitch in and come together for it really to work. And so thank you for creating this beloved community. It is truly a gift to belong here.
Thank you, Liberty. So we're so blessed to have you and all that you bring to this congregation and the whole Powers family. We invite everyone to linger after the service. Of course, it's good to see both old friends and very new ones. In our virtual social hall, you can talk with the minister or myself or Liberty, or join one of the breakout rooms and meet with small groups to check in. Now, let's take a deep breath and let us center and come together in worship. We're going to hear the words of Kimberly Ann Carlson. We begin again, seeking a beloved community. A people that does not put fences around love. A community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love. A heart home to nourish your soul and cherish your gifts. Welcome home. Welcome to worship.
Good morning, I'm Bob.
I'm Renee.
And we're the Bretts. We've been coming to this church for 20 years now, and what we love about being a part of this community is the support that it gave us while we raised our children into adulthood and the continued friendship and fellowship that we experience today.
We light our chalice this morning as a symbol of our UU faith. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs.
We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the Church of the Open Minds. This is the Church of the Helping Hands. This is the Church of the Loving Heart. Our congregation's chalice has been lit and will have its own space throughout the service. If you have a chalice in your home, please light it now.
Good morning, friends. It's really good to be here with you all, and I'm excited that I've brought a friend along. I am Lenore, and I am a member of this congregation, and my friend is also a UU from Pennsylvania. Joanne, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
And my friend Joanne and I, besides sharing Unitarian Universalism in common, also share a spiritual practice. We are both members of a playback theater troupe. Playback theater is a kind of improvisational theater. So we gather together on Zoom these days, and we build stories by just bouncing things back and forth with one another. And it's been really a great spiritual practice for me, and I know it has been for you too, Joanne. And this morning, Reverend Linda asked us if we wanted to come and share part of our spiritual practice of improv with you, because I know we're talking about improv today. So here goes. Hope it'll be fun. And I think what we'll do, Joanne, is an exercise that we do sometimes in our workshop when people are just learning how to do improv. One of our favorite things is saying yes and to something to be able to build a story, right? So I'm going to start by making an offer. I will act out a little something, a little story, a tiny fragment of the story, and then Joanne will jump in with a yes and to say yes to my offer, whatever it is. She doesn't know what I'm going to say. And then she's going to build on that by adding her own with the and. Okay. Hey, Joanne, let's go to the library.
Yes, and let's ride our bicycles there.
Yes, and while we're riding our bicycles, let's do like a wheelie and actually start a parade on the way to the library.
Yes, and on the way on our parade, we should stop at that great bakery that sells those cinnamon rolls and give one to everybody in the parade.
Yes, and we'll be giving out free food and maybe some free books like from the library and helping people be excited again.
Yes, and after we do our parade and go to the library and give out cinnamon rolls and books, then we could get everybody signed up on a list and get their names and put them on a petition.
Yes, and the petition will be to have cinnamon roll books in every library.
Yes, and everyone will just love us for being so creative and getting cinnamon rolls to everybody in the town. We'll be heroines.
Yes, and they'll love us so much that they're going to make a gigantic cinnamon roll for us and they're going to stick it in the town square.
Yes, and then people will come from other countries to visit the monument, and while they're here, they'll make sure that they go into downtown Lancaster and visit all of the tourist sites there, and we'll make money for the city.
Yes, and they'll love books too, and it will all be down to us.
I know. We're great.
Thank you. So that was an example of building a story. Joanne and I had no idea where we were going to go with this. Anything to say about it, Joanne?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun to be able to just spontaneously let go of your expectations and structure. A lot of us live in a way where we have to do tasks and we have to-do lists. So to be able to play loosely and creatively like this is very freeing for your mind and puts you in a great spot to spark your own creativity in your everyday activities.
Perfectly said. Thank you.
Thanks.
So see you all.
Hi, I'm Debbie Norton, and I'm a member of UUCville and a teacher and a dancer. The dance practice that I do, the 5 rhythms, is an improvisational dance practice. There are no set choreographies. We just show up, we support each other right where we are. Each member is accepted for where they are and takes responsibility for themselves. And we pass through the 5 rhythms, that is the groundwork of the dance, and we improvise, and we also create a dance off of the improvisations of others. We create our beloved community from within, and we do it also through movement dialogue with each other.
Thank you, Debbie and Lenore. Reverend Linda here now. I love the new anthem that we heard just a few minutes ago from our own choir. And thank you, Scott, for the keyboard music offerings you've made this morning. And of course, I want to thank the improv people, Debbie and Lenore, who contributed to our service earlier in our hour. I asked them to give us a sampling of improvisation because I've often thought that the principles of improv could make this world a better place. How to be able to live in community with people who have experiences and perspectives that are different from one another, and how to welcome new ideas and new ways of acting and let go of trying to control it all, but rather play off of each other, setting the stage for creativity to come forth. I think that's what beloved community can be. You know, it could be said that we're always offered chances to improvise in our life. Life offers us surprises, people or events that are not in the script that we thought we were reading off of. Amy Poehler said, "We all think we're in control of our lives and that the ground is solid beneath our feet, but we are so wrong." That comedian reminds us that improvising gives us a way to respond over and over again to surprises. Improv, it's kind of the art of taking risks and finding the joy of understanding how you can keep your balance even when you have to go off script and respond to something that's new or different or unexpected. I was a theater person in a former life, and I've been taught a lot about improv by friends who are regular practitioners. And I've learned enough from them to be so excited about perhaps being a skillful improviser could help us all in our work, in being in community. But as you and I have been living together through the earth-shaking events of this past year, this past month, I've been struggling with how to be a skillful improviser when life keeps throwing at us so many challenges, each one crazier than the one before. The core premises of improv that I found helpful includes the three basic ideas. And Lenore told us the first principle of improv is yes and. When improvising, someone offers you something, you accept it, and then you offer something back. You don't block the offer. You respond in a way that'll drive the scene forward, or the dance, or the music. Now, this can be hard, for me anyway, maybe for you, because I've been so trained or socialized to be a critical thinker that I tend to go first for what is wrong or what can I correct if the person's offering to me is a little off, if I don't quite agree. And then I always wonder, what if I just responded to their idea, not to criticize it, but to say, thank you for offering that idea, and then add my own idea. Yes, and this makes me think of, or yes, and we could do this. So even if you offer something that's a counterpoint, you could say, yes, and can you see now that I'm in tears? Or yes, and this is what you bring us to now, but it makes me wonder. So you don't reject it or deny it or ignore it. You try to respond. Ideally, adding ideas together is how we get to a new way of seeing things. We create something new together that none of us alone could have done. Now, recently, people who espouse absolute lies and who insist on being violent racists are challenging our society's possibilities to be in an yes and improv state of being. It's a sign of just how far away our nation is from being a beloved community. I've talked this over with some improv artists, and they remind me that yes and could be a way of saying, your voice matters and I hear you and I share my truth. You hurt me. I wonder what has hurt you. Let's explore this together. And if that first player who said something that we just found horrible could then say yes and to our response, I wonder what might happen next. I don't know. The challenge to creating beloved community is that others need to want to try as well as me. And that brings us to a second principle of improv, which is got your back. That's number 2, got your back. Improv tries to support each player in developing the story. Improv can be fun and funny, but it's not to be about yourself being fun or funny. It's about to help all the performers feel a part of the ongoing story or dance or music and begin to find the fun in living in community and playing off of each other and supporting each other, helping them with their next part being echoed or enhanced so that they have something to say and then somebody else has something to say, and it draws out each other's brilliance until we can make the other people in the scene look great. Or we can even help them as they struggle to find meaning or feel connected to the scene. We can be helping them. In a covenanted community like UU Charlottesville, we need to remember that we are seeking to have each other's back. We're in it for the good of everyone. It's not about if I have the right answer or if you have the right answer. It's about if together we can help each other. How amazing it could feel when we give and receive the gift of knowing that each of us has worth and dignity and that we're here to support each other and support the health of the whole community. So, got your back needs to be there in improv. A third principle of improv I think is really important, especially for folks like me, which is make mistakes. Improv says don't be perfect and allow others to be imperfect. In improv games, mistakes are welcomed because in improv you can adapt, incorporate, or use it. Mistakes are a gift. Sometimes they open new ways into the game, into the scene, into the song. And if you show vulnerability and honesty, if you're unafraid of making mistakes, you invite others to know you and for you to know them for real. And if you aren't tense and scared of doing it wrong, you become more free to be creative or welcoming to new ideas. And that can create community. It feels like our society has made it really difficult to create beloved community. People have been entrenched in hating or mistrusting each other. And this is nothing new. It just feels now it's becoming more socially acceptable to be that way out loud. Being able to improvise with another person depends upon there being in covenant, that there be a covenant among the players, that we will always be able to say yes and have each other's backs and allow each other to make mistakes while it's for the good of the whole. It's hard to do that in our culture, in a lot of the places we work or play or learn. And that's why I'm more grateful than ever that a faith like Unitarian Universalism exists, or other faith traditions that allow people to form a beloved community, a place where you can actually work on creating community because you're agreeing that you're going to try to play by those guidelines. Unitarian Universalism actually is grounded in the notion that revelation is ongoing, that we can always learn new truths. And the radical reformation of the 1500s in Europe was the Unitarian countercultural notion that there are many pathways to truth, many more than just one interpretation of the Bible, many more than just one faith tradition, many more than just one worldview that can be true. That was what the Enlightenment was all about. That open and curious exchange of cultures and ideas and art and ethnicity that opened people to a new life-affirming possibilities. It's what the living stream of our faith has continued to be. In the 19th century, our faith reminded us always to discern the difference between what's transient and what's permanent. The creeds and the denominational fights and the cultural norms of the times, those things are temporary. But love and open-heartedness and universal humanity, love is the permanent teaching. And in the 20th century, acknowledging the need to be more and more inclusive in our thinking, opening our eyes and our hearts and our minds to realize that we need to empower women and children and people of color, folks who are gay, bi, lesbian, transgender, people with different languages, people with differing abilities. You know, originally when society created castes and were really exclusive, that was the old script of saying no. But as we have learned more about the humanity and the worth and the dignity of all people, that no but is giving away to the creative improv of yes and, as we respond to one another. Yes, you matter. And yes, you matter. And yes, you matter. So now, in this 21st century, and we're in the 21st year of the 21st century, we are facing amazing crises, which could be looked at as being seen as amazing opportunities to learn and grow and do something new. Black Lives Matter, the pandemic, the crisis of hate-filled mobs attacking our democracy, the widening economic inequalities, the climate crisis, all of these are invitations for us to explore what could it mean to decenter the dominant culture that thinks there's a set script and a way we have to do everything. Decenter that and decenter all the identities and old systems that have been privileged by it. We need to be creative, improvisational, to find ways to be a beloved community that together we can talk about our situation and respond not by arguing or insisting on our own way, but by saying yes, and by having each other's backs while we try new ideas, by being imperfect as we seek together to find a new way to make this journey. I know, sadly, the joy of improv is hard to find in our lives. But here in a covenanted faith community, we have the chance to nurture that kind of culture here, to practice improv principles, a spiritual practice, improv in our families, in our congregation. A favorite teacher of mine, the Reverend Jackie Lewis in New York City, speaks passionately and encouragingly about living our lives as if we are rehearsing a play or a dance or a piece of music. Practice what you want to see, practice what you want to be, try it out and know it's a practice, it's a process. Reverend Lewis's congregation includes many Broadway actors, musicians, and dancers, and that's why she speaks directly to them when she says we can rehearse becoming a beloved community in our congregational life. We can learn the lessons that could heal the world. The courage of the reformers and the countercultural movements over history, the courage of the creators. It takes courage to work without a script, to go against those who hoard power and try to control the story, who try to make you think there's only one way because they're afraid to consider anything else. It takes courage to do that. And can we find that courage to live in an improv way of being, into a culture of openness, collaboration, and creativity? This is the calling of a faith that invites us to be freed, to liberate ourselves and everyone else from the old script, the script that's been harming us, that's been blocking us, that's been excluding so many of us. This is the calling of the Spirit. We all need this. We need to practice saying, yes, and. I mean it. Right now, even though you're muted, say yes, and admit it. A number of you probably wanted to say no, but I want you to practice saying yes, and you can do it. Especially if we agree we have each other's backs. We can learn to say yes. We can learn to reach out. We can learn to laugh and enjoy each little mistake as a chance to play around and create that new way. So let's rehearse this. I say, let's rehearse building a new way. You say, yes, and I'll say, let's build a new way. And you'll say, yes, and together, improvising in love, we will be building a new way. As we extinguish the lights in our chalices today, I hope each of us will keep the light shining in our lives for others to see. And as our benediction, our blessing today, I share these words spoken by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he spoke to Unitarian Universalists at their General Assembly back in 1965. King said, "An older order is passing away and a new order is coming into being. The role of the church is to broaden horizons, to challenge the status quo, and to question and break mores. The church has a major role to play in this period of social change. It must remain awake through this revolution." And so let us respond today to those words from so long ago. Yes, Dr. King. Yes, and.